What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be doing an oil change and cabin air filters on my 2014 Lamborghini Gallardo. Now I bought this car about 5 months ago with 18,000 miles, currently at 19,700, so I might as well go ahead and get an oil change under its belt. I'm not 100% sure when the last one was. It was within 2 years, so regardless, I like to do an oil change every single year or every 5,000 miles. So let's go ahead and get this car in tip-top shape. So with that, I've already got the car up in the air just to make it easier to work, and I've taken off the 2 under trays. There's a lot of bolts. These are T27s, and you'll get all the bolts off. But we got about a foot of space under the car to work. Of course, the engine compartment opened up. As far as the oil, so just going off what the car says, 5W30 with the VW rating on it. So here's what I got. I have 11 quarts. I believe this car takes 10.5 quarts. So we got the correct oil, the Euro formula, and it's gonna have that rating on it all down here. So I got all that along with the genuine OEM oil filter, and then these are aftermarket. These are the cabin air filters. The OEM ones are about $100. Those are like 30, and it's the same stuff. So it doesn't really matter on that. However, this entire maintenance job is gonna be about $100. So pretty cheap maintenance just to keep this car rolling. Now, as far as the oil change, this is a little bit different than your typical car. There are 7 drain plugs. So underneath the car, let me go ahead and show you, for those of you who are Gallardo owners, actually quite a few owners do their own maintenance. And there's not many good videos showing you exactly where these bolts are. So all 7 of them, the first one is gonna be up here. You can see it right there. I've colored it in red. It is on the underside of this radiator, which is actually the oil cooler. You're gonna see the second one, which is up here, which is right there. So that is gonna be point number 2. The third one is gonna be located right there. You can see I've colored it in red as well. Number 4 is a little bit bigger one right under here. The 5th one is this bolt sticking out of the front of all the metal components. The next one, number 6, is located in between the engine and transmission right there. And then the final one is that one right up there. Hopefully you can see it. That small silver bolt right there. So we'll see how much of a mess this makes, but let's get this first drain plug off and go from there. All right, not crazy like I expected. All right, well that one's already getting close to dripping. That was probably only maybe 2 quarts or 3 quarts. So while that's almost drained, let's work on this one on the upper side now. And next up, let's go to this bolt up here. All right, not all too much for that one. With the first 3 plugs removed and drained into here, let's go ahead and see how much oil has come out of the car so far. I went ahead and cleaned up those and put the plugs back in. So it'll be interesting to see at what kind of way you do it, how much oil is coming out. There's definitely a good amount in here. Let's see if it goes to 5 quarts or not. All right, so right there is 5 quarts. There's probably a half a quart left in here so far. And then with my empty milk gallon, aside from about a half a quart of oil that's in here, this is the best way I have to measure it. Let's see what else has come out of those first 3 plugs. So for my markings, we started at a half a quart. So it looks like maybe 3/4 of a quart. So moving on to the oil cooler on the side of the car, it's gonna be an M12 triple square. I've already gone ahead and loosened it. It's a very long bolt. With the rear one all done, I went ahead and put the bolt back in, cleaned it up. We are down to number 6, which is in between the engine and transmission. This is the T30. So let's hopefully not go too crazy. All right, not bad. So we're on to the last bolt, which is the big Allen wrench one right in the center. From the videos, this one does splatter, so not too hopeful, but let's see. Hey, not too bad. And with that last bolt just dripping, we're gonna go ahead and pop this oil filter out. So here's the old oil filter, comparing it to the new one. Obviously they are the exact same size and everything. This is the OEM Audi one. This is a Mahle brand, which I've heard of, good one to go with, of course. And then for this top canister, I took the rubber O-ring off. The new one came with a new one, so we will slowly work this onto it as well. And with the new O-ring on, we can take the oil filter and it'll just click into place. All right, a little bit of persuasion and we are good to go. And then installing this, we want to make sure we line up the center hole and that little lock hole as well. And since there's already a red mark from the previous one, I can just line that up and that is perfect. So all 7 drain plugs reinstalled now, nice and tight. Oil filter is all set up, ready to go. Looks like about 8 quarts came out of the car. Now I have checked the dipstick prior and everything was perfectly in check. So I guess we'll start off with just putting in 8 quarts, starting up the car, letting it cycle a little bit to see what my overall measurement is, and of course check for leaks before I put the car back on the ground. So with 5 in, now I'm gonna put another 3 in and we'll go from there. All right, so on to the fun part. Let's cold start the Lambo in the garage. We'll see what it does with 8 quarts of oil back reinstalled. So ignition on. Just the engine and door, obviously it shows are open. Let the hydraulics do its thing. And let's fire it up. Done with the cold start now. We'll just let it cycle a little bit, check for any leaks, anything weird going on. So far, everything's looking really good. And nothing crazy on the dash or anything. Oil pressure looks good, temperature is warming up. All right, so from here, we are right at the line of the middle, which means I can at least return this, get 11 bucks back, making this sub $100,000, making this project less than 100 bucks. On to cabin air filters. Now that the oil's good, of course I'm gonna let it sit for a while, make sure there are 100% no drips or anything, should be in tip-top shape. And now we can work on the filters. And honestly, a lot of people don't even know that cars have a cabin air filter. I didn't know that honestly for several years back when I was first driving. This car is just about 10 years old. I am curious if these have ever been changed, and we're gonna know that with how dirty they are. Hopefully I'm surprised and they look good, but nonetheless, it is in the footwell. It's gonna be kind of an awkward fit. We'll see how well I can film it, but we just got 2 back here underneath the fuse box. Okay, those are cool. They're not even screws, they are just little locks. From the 10mm to the 8mm now way in the back. All right, took 1 extra bolt that I couldn't see above this panel off, and that might give me just a little bit more wiggle room. All right, so I popped the bottom of this door off and was able to get that out. So now I can see the filters. They are in fact in here. All right, here's a little bit of getting one out. Yeah, they don't smell the best, I can tell you that. Whew, it is dusty in here now. All right, and on to the next one, which is ironically sitting right above it. So pulling it down. Nonetheless, here are the 2 filters. Pretty nasty looking. It smelled pretty bad pulling them out. Not like horrible, just it smelled dusty. But definitely time. I highly doubt these have ever been changed. They do have the Audi logo on them. So I'm assuming that is original. 10 years, pretty gross. So I actually just got one of these installed. I don't know how I did that, but here's what I did. Might be a little unconventional. I'm basically bending this at a 90-degree angle. So basically just taking it like this, and we're gonna slowly roll it up like this. It'll still maintain its structure once it's flattened out, but now we have a nice 90-degree turn. And then once it's in there, it'll be nice and flat. So sliding it up here, getting it around some of this stuff. And then with 2 arms, which is really awkward, we're just kind of gonna bend it and slowly push it in. Definitely an unconventional way to do this, but this is such a bad spot. I can't believe I actually got this done. All right, with the cabin air filters all squared away, that is one pain in the butt. However, I guess bending them like I did, that was the only way to get them in and get them out. Obviously the old ones doesn't matter, but the new ones, I was careful with it and they did straighten out nicely once they're back in. So that'll be perfectly fine. That is the only way to get those things back in. Oil, everything is looking good. No leaks or anything down below. So I just need to put on all the under trays. We'll get that back together and then we can pull out the Lambo and we are done with my first oil change and cabin air filter servicing on the Lambo. All right, so that is how you change the oil and the cabin air filters on a 2014 Lamborghini Gallardo. This should be pretty similar to all the Gallardos across the board. And then second gen, of course, this is basically how you do it. 7 drain plugs, really not all that hard to do, honestly. It took me about 2 hours to do the oil change part. That's with filming and obviously crawling in and out of jack stands and sort of learning which bolt is the correct one. Had to watch a few videos. There's not really all that much information on doing this yourself. Overall though, this is less than $100 maintenance job. Pretty simple to do even on jack stands. And now the Gallardo is in tip-top shape, ready for some mountain driving this spring and summer. That was kind of the last thing I really needed to do to the car to get it ready. Already got the new tires. I'm gonna drive the car a little bit, cycle it, and then measure the dipstick again just to see where we're at. I'll update the description if anything changes. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. For those of you who are a Gallardo owner, there are really not any good videos on how to do this. So hopefully this will help you, for those of you who actually are gonna be doing your own oil change on your second gen Gallardo. That is it for today's video. Time to go have some fun in the car, rack up some miles, and keep enjoying it. I'll see you guys in the next video.